Homework 19, Basic Principles of Hypothesis Testing, Video 3. Stating hypotheses and determining the type of test. I'm not sure if I've said this in previous videos, but half the battle in statistics is reading. The other half is doing the statistics. In this example, we're going to state the hypotheses and determine the type of test. Determining the type of test will be easy once the hypotheses are stated. A store claims to sell 44-ounce fountain drinks on average. Originally, I didn't write the phrase on average, but what they're saying is on average, these fountain drinks contain 44 ounces of beverage. Somebody was complaining, so a consumer reporter measured a sample of fountain drinks and discovered that the sample mean was 40 ounces. State the hypotheses and determine the type of test. Well, when you state the hypotheses, the first thing you need to do is decide what parameter you are making a claim about. And for our purposes, it will be either mean or proportion. In this case, I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be mean because I say the word sample mean here. Now be very careful. When you state a hypothesis, it is never about a sample. It is always about a population. So when you state your hypotheses, plural, you'll always state them as a pair, a null and an alternative. First, determine what parameter you're making a claim about. Well, the consumer has a sample mean as evidence to dispute a claim about a population mean. So our claims are about population mean. For our purposes, the null hypothesis will always be equal. So what is the store claiming about the mean of all their fountain drinks? That it's 44 ounces. Hi, I own the store and I claim that on average our fountain drinks have 44 ounces of beverage. But the reporter has evidence to the contrary. He discovered that the sample mean was the sample mean was 40 ounces. Now, what does this suggest about the population mean compared to 44? Now, we have one of three options here. We can say not equal to, greater than, or less than. But which of these does the sample evidence suggest might be the alternative hypothesis? I'll tell you which one it's not. It's not greater than, because this evidence doesn't suggest that it's greater than 44. So that leaves us not equal to or less than. So which one is correct? Technically speaking, both of them could be correct. Because this sample provides evidence that the mean's not 44, and it also provides evidence that the mean is less than 44. But sometimes you have to think about the context. If I'm a consumer reporter, I'm probably going to a place to catch them doing something wrong to the public. If I use not equal to, what I'm saying is, all right, you claim your beverages are 44 ounces, but I say that they're not. If I use this, I'm saying that they're either greater than or less than 44 ounces. As a consumer, would it really upset you if you bought a 44-ounce drink and it actually contained more than 44 ounces? No, I wouldn't. But as a consumer, if you claim you're selling me 44 ounces, but I'm actually getting less, now we have a problem. So your sample will either suggest greater than or less than, but it can also always suggest not equal to. Contextually, I think this one should be less than. Hi, I sell you 44-ounce drinks. Wait a minute. I think you're wrong because you're selling me less. You're ripping me off. Now, in the homework, a lot of times it will give wording that will clearly state that it should be less than or it should be greater than or not equal to. I'll show you an example like that in the next video. But let's run with these hypotheses. The store claims that the average content of all of their fountain drinks are 44 ounces, or at least the 44-ounce cups. And the evidence suggests, no, it's less than 44 ounces. Now, where's the 40? Probably in the cooler in the back of the store. That was a joke. So where's the 40 ounces play out in all of this? Well, as we actually go through the motions of hypothesis testing, we will be using this. But for now, it's only giving us the evidence for what the alternative hypothesis should be. Which type of test is this? Well, it's pretty easy. To answer what type of test it is, you look in the alternative, you look at the inequality. Less than means left tail. That's supposed to say left tail, I'm not sure what happened in the middle there. All right, in the next video, we'll take a look at an example that's a little more clear in terms of setting up the alternative hypothesis. But the reason I wanted to do this one first is in real life hypothesis testing, this is the scenario. You claim one thing, I get evidence to the contrary. I need to propose an alternative claim to what you claim. Maybe I want to explicitly say less than, maybe I want to say not equal to. I'll try to find an example somewhere where the intuitive context should just say not equal to as opposed to less than.